Alrighty guys, it's time for a channel update. If you're one of the people that subscribed for, what do you call it? The hydrostream video, I sold that shit. There's no way I had time to do that. And I didn't want a 2-year project. I was watching other people, they haven't finished still, and their videos came out like 3 years ago. So I was just like, straight up no. Plus, sold it to a guy for, basically what I had in it, a little less, it's fine. And he's already done one before, so it's definitely gonna get restored, and he's doing it for his kid. Now, yeah, so finish the bass boat, shortcut to that. Pretty fun boat. The thing is, since you guys last saw my channel or watched a video, we've done a few things up front. You can probably remember this, but you probably haven't seen this yet. So this is a boat I got in December. It's been in storage. I pulled it home about a week, maybe a week and a half ago. Got the flu. I've been laying inside sick and haven't been able to do anything with this. Now, this is a 2005 Ebbtide. It's a 2100, so 21 foot, but it's a Champione or whatever. It's got the sweet fucking wheels. That's actually backlit on the trailer. Got all the steps. It's all good. When we took it out of, when we bought the boat, we actually broke some pieces to the bimini top, so I'm fixing those right now. But ignore that. We'll go to the other side and it'll look normal. So ignore all those numbers. Those aren't even the numbers that it's registered under. But we got this boat basically like lifetime bargain deal, and it's the best boat I've ever owned, with one caveat: we haven't taken it out on the water. So there's a reason for that. It's now May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. And as you probably saw on the other side of the boat, there's a weird can hanging off to the side. It's got a line running into the boat. Just follow that line. It's going to the dipstick tube. That's weird. This is clear line. Why is it filled with something that looks like milkshake? That's because whenever I was testing the boat, there was no water coming out of the exhaust, and I didn't think about it. I was up inside of the engine compartment with an IR thermometer checking the heads. Well, I was scanning everything, and I think I blew a head gasket, maybe cracked a head. The block might also be cracked, but yeah, we got water in the oil in the worst way. I mean, I ran it for about 15-20 minutes with it in this situation. I started it up, I did like 3 minutes at a time, and then I changed the oil, changed the water, the oil filter. Oh gosh, I did a few things, just maintenance things, and then I decided it was time to run it. There was no water in the oil whenever I changed it. It looks perfect. And then I ran it again for like 3 minutes, and then it came back the next day, checked it, ran it for like 15 minutes, and it did this. So to those who know, this is a Volvo Penta SX. It has, or people I guess who want to know, this motor is a 5.7 MPI, so it's a multi-point injection. Yeah, and it's super low hours. Whenever I got it, it hadn't been ran in like 2 or 3 years, and before that maybe 2 or 3 years. I've been working on it, and as you can see, it's a mess in here, but I did clean. It was gross before, but I cleaned all the seats up. They all looked kind of like, I don't know if this is showing up on camera, but like this, but like a million times worse. And that one's not even done cleaning. I basically just washed it with a hose. Some of the seats are a little ratted out, but underneath, and there's so much freaking pollen, dude. It's crazy. Like, I cleaned the entire thing out. It has all these compartments. It's a super sick boat. Huge stuff in here. That's part of my, like, that was going to be all my finishing oil and gear lube and fuel filter and oil, a whole bunch of stuff. That's not happening now. What's the temp? Will that show up on the thing? Yeah, it will. 63 Fahrenheit. It's a beautiful day to pull a motor. So that's what we're doing this weekend. I've never done this, and I've never done it alone. In my last video where I pulled a motor from an inboard from a boat, I was in my dad's shop and it was a whole deal. But I also had like my brother, one of my brothers and my dad there to help me. Now I'm gonna do this alone. And I guess I'm basically videotaping this for reference to make sure I remember what I did whenever I did it. And if you guys want to see this shit. So hopefully we can get this motor out this weekend and do some diagnosis. All right. Okay, so first step to taking, I would say 99% of all inboard outboard motors out is removing the stern drive. On this, we've got to take this cap off and then do the shift linkage. There's a shift linkage here on this side. Undo that, and then there's these two bolts, that bolt, these two bolts, that bolt. We'll do those last. Actually, we got to take these off first. Yeah, we'll do these before we do those bolts, but first the shift linkage. I'll take pictures of that here in a second. Okay, I forgot a few things. I'm also going to take off the propeller, and I think I'm also, you know, no, I'm not. Yeah, I changed my mind. I'm not going to drain the gear lube in here, because in case I forget to re-put some back in, I'm definitely not going to put more back in right now. Anyway, here's the shift linkage. So we'll pull that cotter key out, snap that off. I mean, just pull it out and it'll be free. I think we'll also take this off. Let me just get a good video of that to show where the threads are at. 1, 2, 3, and then the fourth one's going in. Yeah. Perfect. This is a little rusty, isn't it? That's a little weird. I swear it's the thing with boats, dude. You take one thing off, you're like, oh my god, here's another thing. This was in, it looked so good. It was covered in dust and shit. And like, I was like, I just had these like rose-colored glasses whenever I bought this, and it was gonna be such a great boat. I kind of fucked it up. The water wasn't coming out because the risers are packed full of mud. I found that out like after I fucked it up bad. So I don't even know. We'll fucking see. Okay. The stupid caps that are on here, these things, apparently they're so oxidized they just snap, that gray thing. Dude, so I just broke one. Now this is pretty straightforward compared to Mercruiser. This is just a little like C-ring that'll come off. Just wanted to show that before I took them off, because I can't videotape and work at the same time. The GoPro's all shit. The tripod's fucked. Battery doesn't work. It's a whole mess. Okay, so when you're doing this, there's a few little things I noticed. Be prepared to use like a wrench or a swivel head socket for all these. The like indentation is all it blocks any extension. You can't get a ratchet head in there. The other thing is, before you start loosening these, you want to take some pressure off of the actual bolts with your whatever your lifting tool is. Well, you want to do that before you take these rods out. Now the thing is, with these, on my Mercruiser stern drive, like these have a rubber bushing inside, so once you disconnected them, you could just like push this off of this rod. For these, I had to actually drive the rod to one side and the other to get those loose and free. Anyway, I will show you this once I have it off. Woo! That was so easy. It took like I don't know, almost an hour of prying and like getting out. I definitely didn't get out like a bunch of wedges and hammers and stuff, that's for sure. Definitely didn't use a like big yellow crowbar in order to like pry it off there. But we did get it out. Actually pretty straightforward. So looks like we got a little bit of, here, let's turn on the flash. There we go. Looks like we got a little bit of leftover water. Our gimbal bearing doesn't look super healthy. I think we can just reach in and feel it. Oh! I wonder if you guys can hear that. It sounds buttery. And there's not a bit of movement in it. There's no like slop whatsoever. All right, that's hellacious. We're good on that. I'm not even gonna worry about it. All right, and then here's our gimbal. Whew! So I'm trying to feel for any slop in it. I'm rotating my hand back and forth, and I'm looking for any slop in any of these U-joints. Honestly, it feels it feels like brand new. Like you can feel a microscopic bit of slop, and it might just be me like not capable of moving this whole gimbal joint in one spot, but it feels so tight. It's, if there is movement, it's like barely detectable. Our shaft, it's pretty healthy, honestly. I mean, it definitely has been a few years since it's been greased, but I can feel grease on it still. Okay, well, that's the first night of getting this motor out. Man, putting this thing back on is gonna be such a pain in the ass if I do this by myself. Not even gonna think about it. I'm just gonna move forward. I have water in my engine oil. I've got to get this engine out. So I might not have explained this very well before. This engine bay, it's really big actually on this side. On that side, there's actually, like right above that wall on the other side, there's a compartment that I can open. And I can crawl down in there and work alongside of the motor, so underneath this. But it's really only about 1.5 feet tall. So like whenever I mean crawl down in there, I mean, I'm like hanging upside down with my legs in the air. So I was dicking around with this. I was trying to get this like, I was trying to get out all this milkshake, and I was thinking about testing it. What I ended up doing is I took off the bypass hoses, plugged the ports, and then connected a pressure tester to the motor, and she won't hold more than like 3 pounds in the water jacket. So realistically, an engine should hold at minimum 15 psi. Minimum, you should be able to hold 15 psi in your motor. Most blow-off caps are 15 psi. So with it not being able to hold more than like 3, it means we've got some type of problem. I don't know what it is yet, but the thing is, we've got to fix it. And dude, I just didn't want to take my heads off and exhaust manifolds and do all of that work down inside the boat. I think it's actually, even though this is going to take like maybe a total of 5 hours to pull the engine, I think it's going to save me 5 hours at least in doing all of the engine work from the engine bay. Especially if I have a cracked block, I have to pull the engine anyway. So if I have head gaskets or heads, I've got to pull the heads off, and I think it's just going to be straight up easier to do outside. All of the accessories are in the way, the intake manifolds, all that stuff, so it's a whole bitch. I'm going to try and mount this stern drive to this outboard engine stand I made, but honestly, I might lay it down on like this piece of foam or something and just go with it. All right, I'm going to string this all together, and I will update you guys with the next video, or I'll just do tomorrow. Anyway, have a good one. All right, it's the next day. As you can see, well, I don't know if you can see, it is raining, and I don't have a garage that's big enough to hold this boat. So what a pain in the ass. However, I went up there, I got all the disconnections made. I took out my exhaust risers. They're actually still up in the boat. But I got my Captain's Choice exhausts out to give me more space in the engine bay. Got my fuel disconnected, battery wire off the starter. And I'll just go ahead and point that out here once it stops raining. Let's see, what else? Throttle cable, power steering cooler from the water input. Then, oh, I had to disconnect my bypass lines, but that's just because I took the risers off the manifolds. Power steering lines disconnected from the steering cylinder, so on the transom, that's where you want to get those. And let's see, oh, wiring harness disconnected. And I actually took the ECM out, so we're not lifting it. Here's the ECM right here. I just piled a bunch of shit on top of it, but that's the ECM. So we'll once it stops raining, I'll get up, point some of those things out so you guys can see it. I guess this is, don't use anything that I do as an instruction thing. I think the first thing you should do if you're going to do this, there are so many Volvo manuals for every specific model, and like they're even dedicated to like engine removal and installation. I'll go ahead and drop a link for the one that I'm using. I got mine from like emanuals.com, and it was really easy to find, and there's a preview of it, so it worked perfectly. I guess while it's raining, there's one other thing I want to talk about. This thing right here is badass. This thing, dude, I haven't charged it in like weeks. I've taken out so many screws and like for hose clamps, it is like a little monster. It switches to this 90-degree like a normal thing. It has good torque. Like, I left this out in the rain like 2 weeks ago. There was water coming out of the charging port. Oh yeah, and it charges by USB. It's so sick. There's no extra batteries or anything. Like, but I haven't charged it in weeks. There was water coming out of that port and this button right here. And dude, it still works. It's awesome. I can't recommend it enough. Like, it is. I wish I've had one of those all my life, more than like impacts, because it's for like a long hose clamp where you have like this much to worm through. Oh, dude, like this is fucking killer. All right, so it's the next day. I got a buddy coming over to help me with this lift. We've got the motor completely disconnected, well, except for the throttle cable, which I'm getting ready to do, but I figured I'd take this video. I took the exhaust manifold risers off. Back here, we took that wiring harness connector off. This had Captain's exhaust, a Captain's Choice exhaust, so I had to disconnect that. And there was an extra plug right here. Disconnected the power steering from the actual transom, then zip tied those lines back at the back of the motor. Here's the other one, just so you can see it. The fuel line came in right there. Your fuel line might be different. Oh, and whenever I took the exhaust risers off, these had to be unplugged. This is for the ECM. I don't think there was anything else. Oh, whenever I took the exhaust risers off, that remote oil filter mount has to be zip tied up. But other than that, next I'm going to take the lag bolts out of the motor mounts there, so that, and the same on the other side, and then that screw, or that nut right there, and then she should lift out. I'm hoping. I hope that's the only bolt I have to take out back here. All right, I'll get to it, and I'm charging GoPro right now, so hopefully we can videotape the lift. All right, here's more reference. We got the motor out. Oh, I think it's out of order, whatever. So right here, shit, that hole had the clamp for the power steering line. This had a bunch of grounds going to it, and one ground that went over to the transom. And see how that connects. And there's a thing that goes here that holds that on. Another screw for the ground line. And then another hole, sorry, right here. And another one down. No, not another one down there. All right. Perfect. Okay, I'm filming a lot of this out of order. I don't know how to fix it now. We didn't have time to set up cameras and do all the shit whenever I got the engine pulled. We had to turn it sideways to get it out of the engine compartment. And I guess the main strategy you're going to have whenever you're pulling an engine, that, like, this applies to all engines, is try and pull it out as one big piece to make the removal go faster. But also you're going to look for ground wires and ground straps that strap the motor to the engine compartment. And that's whenever you're talking about a car or truck or anything like that. So on these long bolts, on this and this, we had ground straps that were actually, so this actually went onto here, but there were other ground straps that went to the transom plate that got in our way, that held me from rotating the engine. I've already got the belt off here. This is kind of dumb that Volvo made it to where you can't actually take the belt and replace it or change it without taking the water pump off. That's weird, dude. Maybe that's just a small block Chevy thing. I'm definitely not used to that. I'm used to working on fucking minivans and shit where you have to change the belt. But it all goes on, like, you don't have to take anything off. You literally just slide it through, and it's serpentine, so it's made to where, like, you can just take it on and off really easily. So, and in the manual, it basically delineated exactly how to take this off and what you're looking for. You know, you're looking for throttle cable. On Mercruiser and Volvo, there's a big electronics plug that plugs the boat wiring harness into the motor wiring harness. For me, I also took the ECM off. I think I said that before. Disconnected the fuel line. The fuel feed hose for raw water came into this thing, which this is broken, which I'm now confused about. I don't think I did this. I think this was actually like this. This should be a round piece. So I might be able to straighten that out and fix it. But it was working before. Next thing. Oh, yeah, we broke this thing. So this is part of the water pump. Or I mean fuel pump. I have two lines. I don't know how to tell which is the return and which is the feed. Because they both come to this right here, and I don't think that there's any way to know which is which looking from the outside. I'd have to look it up in the manual. It's feeding both fuel rails. This must be either a fuel pressure regulator or sensor, I'm not sure. But yeah, so anyway, we broke this out of here. I don't know what this is. See that? It goes down into there, and there's like a little thing that it connects to. Anyway. So we broke that. But for the most part, the motor came out really easily. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start on this side of the engine, and I'm going to take the head off. So the head is bolted into the block, and I've never taken a head off before of a small block Chevy. On any other motor, I'm like 90 or 100% sure that the intake manifold bolts into the head itself. But gosh, I'm just not sure. So I'm just going to start taking stuff apart, and I'm going to leave the intake manifold for last because it has like 1,000 fucking things attached to it. And I'm going to try and just take the heads off, but I'm like pretty sure that some of the bolts go into the head itself, like this one that's behind this accessory thing. Well, that looks straight on, and I don't see it going into, yeah, it's probably going into the head. That bolt right there at the center. Oh, look. A stray dog wandered into my garage. What are you doing, stray dog? Gosh. They figure out ways to get through the fence like they're just escape artists. Anyway, I'm going to try and film this engine disassembly and the things I learned throughout it and things that I don't know for sure. I'm going to try to document, at least for myself, to like go back on whenever I have to reassemble this thing. Right now, my number one priority is getting this big accessory piece off. Now it looks like actually the power steering pump, belt tensioner, and alternator are all mounted to this big piece that bolts into the head. And into the block? I don't know. But I'm going to take that off first, and I'll be back whenever that whole big thing is off. Okay. I'm thinking I'm going to have to take off a few pieces to get this intake manifold off, and I'm pretty sure I have to take it off in order to get the head off. So, this is a blocker, I think, or it's just an empty fuse. The crazy thing is, there's this on this side, which I don't know what this port is for, and it's unmarked. Weird. But yeah, so green was on this side. Then there's this orangish cable, and then two reds go into here. This is like a relay circuit breaker box. We're gonna try and take that off. Underneath here, is there anything to mistake this with? No. So I think I'm gonna have to take the wiring harness completely out in order to free this thing from the motor. So these two. All right, we'll start with that side and see if we can get this intake manifold off. We're gonna have to take this thermostat housing off too. Just videotape all this. I went to there. That's yellow with green stripe, and it looks like black with orange stripe. These can all come out so I don't lose those. These went to the exhaust risers. Really don't know what they are. I think they might just be ground straps. So we just need to take this off. I don't know where I put my tool that I was using for these, but start with the front, work our way over. It looks like the wiring harness to the injectors is all lined up with the injector itself. This wire comes off this side into this, so we'll be able to tell which side is which I hope I don't have to take it off far or do much to the back side of this motor. I mean, we're gonna find out probably, but really hope I don't have to. And this intake manifold, got it going along there. Okay. Didn't want to have to take the distributor out, but we're probably gonna have to take the distributor out. Okay. Fuck me. one right there, that's going to be a major issue. Let's start with that one. Okay. No plugs except for that one. So the black wire is gone. Weirdness. Good. Okay, so right now this is just held on by weight. And I don't know how to get this boot off. This is fucking weird. Okay, so broke that off? How could that have been in there so tight? Dude. This is waterproof. That's why that's like that. So I should have checked to see if this was unhooked completely before I did this. God, that's dumb. Okay. Show you what I'm looking at here. So this is now still connected, but this was like glued on the boot to this electrical wire. I need a head mount for my GoPro. 2 tool reviews. First of all, when you're buying ratcheting wrenches, the first set you buy, 100% for sure, are these short little ones. The reason is because you're only going to use these, or really want to use these in super tight spaces where you don't need a lot of torque. Like, buying the short ones first, that is clutch. And this brand is actually clutch. Not sponsored, but these, I've already hit them with hammers and stuff to drive stuff off just because it was convenient, and I've used them and they've worked really well. Okay, now that that's off, the alternator's disconnected. Power steering lines are still connected. They are not gonna bind up. Until need that to come free too. Let's go ahead and loosen up this. That's the remote oil filter housing into the exhaust manifold. Is there anything else holding this on? No. Let's just take the entire exhaust manifold off real fast. Oh. Milkshake in the 4th cylinder on the right side bank as you're looking at the crank. Coming out of the exhaust port. That's not good. Ooh. I should number these before I take the spark plug wires off, so I don't have to think about it later. I might have already flipped 2 of them around. So 7, they good. And then this is 5. Okay, we're good. So cylinder 7 was the one, they're numbered coming from the distributor. So do I really need to number them down here? No, I don't think so. That's stupid. Okay. Exhaust manifold stayed intact on the engine. Let's just give you guys a shot of this. So this milkshake stuff came out of this cylinder, of cylinder 7 here, and that ain't good. See if we can get that exhaust manifold gasket off. Actually need to take this whole plate off. I might be able to get away with just taking out those bolts that were tied to it. And see, here's what I'm talking about. So this bolt, and there's 2 bolts back here. Oh, they're definitely going into the cylinder head. Okay. So I gotta unbolt the manifold. I don't know if I'm gonna take the whole thing off just because of the sake of figuring this out, but the sake of not fucking up a bunch of stuff. Okay, I think next... Yeah, I'm not going to take that big accessory thing off. I don't know if you guys can see in here. There's no more bolts bolting it to the thing. I'm going to leave that on. In fact, I should have left all this on. I fucked this up already. So I stripped this nut out. Or this bolt, it just broke off. Right inside there. Come on, focus, bitch. Can't even tell if it's focusing. Yeah, that broke off. This boot was like glued on here, onto this like thing. And I actually just ripped it off. There's pieces of the boot that stayed behind. That's annoying. And then this clip. Okay. Back to it. Take these out. So they painted this engine block after they had it assembled. All of these bolts are painted over. So this motor's never been taken apart before, I can tell, because the fucking everything's literally painted on. It's crazy. This, I don't know what this is, but it's blocking my path. That sucks. Seven sixteenths. Power steering line goes to there. Still recording in the right spot. Craftsman. This thing is solid for taking off worm clamps. Like, NBD. Alright, let's just go ahead. And get thermostat housing off. I'm pretty sure it goes down into the block. Oh, wait, what? This isn't 7/16? Seriously need to organize the garage. Might be half, although it might just be painted over. Is there only one bolt for the thermostat out? Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought there was more than that. Hammer, where art thou? She's just painted on in a little stock. Doesn't look good down in there, but kind of what you'd expect. See if the GoPro's still recording. We'll give you a close-up of this. Perfect. Yeah, so that's the thermostat and the inside of the housing. Doesn't look great, but that has raw water rushing through it. That's kind of typical of what you'd see, that scaling and corrosion. We'll put a new thermostat in it when we reassemble. Yeah, and I'm just stacking shit on the floor because, you know, fuck it. Alright. I said it because I knew it was bad. Fucking bench. I need to organize this. Organize it later. Okay. I'm videotaping. You want me to stop? Oh, you're just watching? So, and then down in there is the actual water passage for the raw water. So, looks gross, but honestly, it's not as bad as it could be. Alright. I don't think I need to remove the throttle body for any reason, or the injector rails. We're going to move back along wiring harness. Might be able to just get that out of the way. Oh, these fuel lines. I'll take the fuel lines off up there at the actual fuel pump. And maybe that's... Are these two different size things? No, I'm gonna have to mark those. Well, maybe I can take them off from this side? No, I can't. Alright. For some reason they put the same size for both of those. Alright, I will do that. And we'll keep moving along here. Is that bad? I don't know. Well, I've got you here. I'm going to disconnect a few things. So this set of wires goes to this clip on this part, and then this set of wires goes to here, and this is the main coil plug. It goes to right there. Stay, you bitch. What a cunt. What a cunt of a fucking camera mount. So many wires. Okay. I don't know. Okay. Love you, dearest. I will. I don't know. I don't know. Shit. Crazy. So these clips, let me just get you over here again. Jeez, I need a better fucking camera mount. These clips, as you can see, I've never done this before, so I don't understand why this is like this, but these gray pieces slide off really easily. Anyway, I did it before, but it's hard to do one-handed. Let's just do it on this one. Yeah, so you just squeeze the outside and it slides back, and then slides off, and then you press down this center piece and these clips just come right out. And then what I'm doing is I'm just sliding these gray pieces back onto these like that, so I don't lose them. Now before I take this one off, just want to compare the two. Yeah. This has got to be the way to do it. Okay. Hell yeah. Now, this engine wiring harness is free from this side of the motor. The next thing we need to do is take this green plug out. This is like a lock that locks the wires in. It's crazy. Let's just get this power steering wheel out of the way. Oh yeah, here we go. And take that out of my hand before I break it. These all have like retainers on the wires. That's so weird to me. So this got doused in oil, so all of the clips are really fucking oily. It's really hard to get a grip on them. I don't know which part is supposed to come out. Okay, I think I see. Gonna happen here. I need a little baby screw. Oh, fuck me, really? I'm losing all my power steering fluid on the floor right here. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. That's a trip hazard. Good old Harbor Freight bucket. That's what it's made for. Trying to get the sumbitch in. I walked over there to get a little pick. Push this stupid clip down there. There we go. These all have waterproofing, like this seal right here. It looks premium. We'll find out if it does anything. We'll get this thing back on the water in a matter of weeks. It's just wild how they painted this. Okay, before I take this completely off, we have to take a picture of this. If this isn't recording, I'm like totally fucked. Okay, so we're at the back of the motor. As you're facing the crank, we're on the right side. I mean, facing the pulleys, you're on the right side. And this is at the very back. And so we have this thing that's holding the engine wiring harness, this hanger, and as you can see underneath it, there's some type of ground that runs behind it. And this thing is literally stuck, but here's the ground. Let's take a picture of that. That's pretty unique looking. Okay. Nope, 3/8. I'm just taking this nut and washer off. The split washer was above the wire that goes in there. Let me just put it back on this thing. The nut and washer. This is not secure. Okay, we're good there. Just one of these short bolts. I'll put it over here, I guess. Need a 1/2 inch wrench for that. Almost hold on. Can I get this valve cover off? Ooh, it's gonna leak. Oil fucking thing. Oil catch can. Where are you? God damn you, son of a bitch. Where are you at? Oh, fuck me. What is that? Oh, I'm a stupid fuck. There it is. God damn it. I buried it. What an asshole. Literally all over the wires on this. Some wires. What a stupid ass fuck. Oh, it won't stop. This was a bad idea. Oh, I'm so fucking dumb. I was trying to turn it over so I could put the valve. Why didn't I drain this? Okay. Things I learned today. The forbidden milkshake does not flow into my oil catch pan because it has two tiny little bitch holes that do not allow it to flow in there as fast as it flows out of the motor. When you can use a 5-gallon bucket instead of a catch can, use a fucking 5-gallon bucket. Yeah, now I've got to go. It's like impossible to even move around in here. It's like, it's not even ice, it's fucking, it's literally a water oil mixture on the floor. So I gotta go get like kitty litter or something. I think some sockets fell on the floor. I definitely see some wrenches. I've got to pick all that up. Wheel the motor outside once it's done draining. It's still draining. It's been like 25 minutes. It's still draining. That's probably a gallon in that bucket right now, as well as like a gallon in the top of that. There's so much of the shit. I thought there was minimal left. I've already taken out that blue thing. I already filled it up one time and I was like, oh, that's 2 gallons. There's only like 5 quarts of oil in here. So, motherfuck, dude. Alright, I gotta go get something to clean this up. I really did not expect myself to make this big of a mess, so I didn't get any kitty litter. Alright, well, lessons learned. Fuck me. Okay, got a bit of a mess. That was anticipated. Wow. You guys see that? Alright, this is worth it, getting the thing dirty. That's what the inside of my motor looks like. Holy fuck. Well, fucking oil catch can Really just wasn't big enough for this mess. No wonder I was having trouble draining it. Golly. Look at that. That's crazy. That's how much was left in there after weeks. I guess there's no drains on this side. The only drains are like those black holes. Wow, dude. Wow. Well, we made an absolute fucking mess of this garage. We have no drains, so this just literally runs to the corner of my garage and sits in a pool. Fuck. I have no kitty litter. Damn it. Alright. I'm gonna try and deal with this mess. Gloves. .3/8. Oh shit. I can't pull this out with 3/8. Fuck, they're all oily. There we go. I think that's a good shot. Yeah. Shit. There's so much paint. Like, Volvo did not fuck around when they painted this engine. Let's go ahead and spin it, just in case. Forgot that I actually did something safe and engaged the brake. So first of all, you can already see there's stuff coming out of this. Oh, there's actually stuff in that spark plug. Oh, here. There's actually stuff in that spark plug. I don't know if you guys can see that, but. Alright, now let's try and get this valve cover on. Forgot where that was screwed in. Okay, so the other one was a lot worse. Look how clean the inside of that is. It's nuts. Sorry, I'm losing my valve cover bolts. Top of the valve cover looks great. Okay, let's roll this back around so you can see what's going on here. So this is what the underside of the valve covers look like. It's just all full of shit. It's nuts. See, this one I sprayed with degreaser already, but this one is just basically raw and fresh for you guys. So this stuff is it's really the consistency of like melting soft serve ice cream. Like if you can see, like it doesn't flow, and so that's what gets inside your motor whenever you have water in your oil. Like you really, I thought that I might be able to take this apart or do it from inside the boat, but there's no way. Look at that. Can you guys read that? Hecho en Mexico. Okay, here comes the manifold. It is a heavy son of a bitch. No! Fuck me. Just lost a manifold bolt into the... spare oil drawer. Just take them all out now. Okay. Get a spot for it. Fuck, it's heavy. Whew. Oh, the worst sign. Damn, boys. I'll get this on the cell phone so you can see it. Okay, just taking a video of it. This long bolt is the bolt that was holding, it was the retaining bolt for the lines for the remote oil filter. It also held the dipstick in place. I think it was on an exhaust manifold bolt. I think that's what that is. Okay, so we're back at it. This funny little thing was connected to this. And this sensor, I don't know what it is. I thought that these were oil pressure sensors, but this was connected to this. So I'm literally just cataloging everything. I'm about to disconnect this sensor, or this plug, from the distributor. Okay, and then if we can see, as I'm getting ready to unhook it, gosh, it would be nice if there's some way to realign it properly. I wonder if I can dry it out really good right there and mark it. I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna video this, the other side of the motor's wiring harness routing. So, here's the plug going from the boat. This plug comes out, and this is it, way back in there. And it comes into the wiring harness right here. So, it's a ground strap. I don't remember where that goes. Oh, this probably goes to the back of the motor, I think. Or to the transom plate. Not 100% sure. So here's this plug, and then this ground strap that was connected to this bell housing bolt went right here, goes through this connector with this cable. This cable comes out of the main harness right here, and it goes down. Now this is the starter, and it splits off, and it has another one of these clips that's like on the other side. I don't know why there's two. I don't know what these are, so maybe I shouldn't even be taking it off, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to take the entire wiring harness off. Otherwise it's just gonna sit here. There's no way to get rid of it any other way. God, these don't want to come off. Okay, here we go. Got it off. Okay, this has a different... This looks different than the other side. I'm not 100% sure if it is. And then this wire comes up and goes to what I believe is the crank position sensor. Up here underneath the balancer has a purple seal. Is my finger bleeding? No, it's something else. Oh, it's paint. I don't know if these are unique or if they'll like bolt up to everything or if they'll clip into different clips, but it looks like there's a bunch of them that are like 3-wire clips. So anyway, this again goes through here to the starter and has those clips that we just talked about. Then up top, we've got this main thing coming in and it splits off. We've got two things going into this circuit box, a relay box, I don't know what you call that. Then we have this clip going to the top of the intake manifold. I think is a squeeze type clip. We'll take that off camera. Actually, no, I think it pushes down. Yeah. Just pushes down in the center, and then we can pull that off. Orange seal to the top of the intake. We've got more fuel injector sensors, or fuel injector clips. We got these things that go to the ECM on top of the motor. This runs to the riser. Yeah, these go to the ECM. This was just sitting there. I think this is the diagnostic port. It would be so cool to have the diagnostic thing for this engine. Okay. Then it goes up and it looks like we have a thing right there, which comes right off this wiring harness right here. Let's go ahead and turn that on now. And then there's a bit of a mess, but the wiring harness comes through there, and this is kind of the tail end. Runs through this and then up into this fuel pump assembly thing. And I think, well, I know we're gonna have to unplug this because this bolts into the head as well, so we're gonna have to take this out. And this is also the deal. Huh. Oh, okay, so it splits. There's one thing going to here. Don't know what that is. They're both zip tied to this. Is this split into 2 wires? Yeah, so they both have to be unplugged here. Okay. And that's this entire side of the motor's wiring harness. Let's just go back over it. I don't see any other sensors to plug into on this side, so that should detail all of it. Okay, so I've got all of the wiring harness off. I've got the front, the fuel pump on front off, and the mounts and idler pulley mounts. Getting ready to pull that valve cover, and then we'll pull the intake. I decided to go ahead and pull the distributor, and that's what that looks like. Literally milkshake all over. Not a huge surprise, to be honest. And I decided to pull the spark plugs. That's how bad it is. One cylinder here is fully filled. The other cylinders, the spark plugs were fine. This is how bad it was. So that's number 4. And then on this side, number 7, for the last cylinder on the right side bank, it literally poured out of there and gushed. So all of the oil you see that's not pink there is from that cylinder. It was plumb full. So next what I'm gonna do is put some gloves on, and we're gonna pull this valve cover and see what happens. I'm gonna try and get the GoPro set up so you guys get to see what happens. All right, well, this is not what I wanted to see, but the block is completely cracked right here. So if you can see that, it's actually super fucked up. And the crack runs all the way over here. Yeah, that sucks. Let's look at this side. Oh wow, it's cracked on this side too. Wow. Well, that's a sad day. She's cracked pretty rough. Okay, so here's the plan. I'm already through my grieving process, and I thought this was a thing. So that's why this motor is laying on the ground right here. I already bought it a few weeks back. I've been sick and busy with work and haven't had a chance to really touch it yet. It was brought into a shop. It had 12 psi of oil pressure, and the block is supposed to be good. Now, I'm almost sure it's good because you can inspect the outside, there's no cracks, and I bought it without an intake manifold, so we can see that there's no cracks like anywhere in the block, so we know that block is good. I have to decide how I'm going to make it work and how far I want to go, but my timeline is Memorial Day. Really want to have it on the water by May 25th to test it and make sure it's good, because we're bringing people out every day. Today is the 10th of May. So realistically, we have 2 weeks to get that motor boat ready. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I don't know if I'm going to post this before then, but this saga, you know, I might just keep videotaping and filming, caching the video, and post one long supercut whenever I get it going. It sucks too, because like everything is so, once you wipe the milkshake away, like look how nice the push rods are. Like, they're so clean. Like, this motor was almost brand new, so I don't... Well, I know that it wasn't me that froze it. Like, because I never put it on the water. But whenever I got it and ran it the first time, this freeze plug came out. The oil looked perfect. I didn't think that it was frozen and cracked. And to be honest, I think it was frozen and cracked beforehand, judging by the rust on the cracks. So I don't know if this was like an intentional type of fuckery. Now they got me, look, there's shit in the intake runner. So there's a dead bug in there. I don't know. I can't. The funny thing is, the woman that sold it to me was her husband's boat, and he was dying or had passed or something. I didn't even want to buy the boat. I didn't have the money for it. This is actually half my wife's boat. So, like, she paid for half of this because she loved how pretty the boat was. And I really loved it too, but yeah, we weren't ready for it. And we've got the other boat, the Wellcraft still. Anyway, I'm rambling. I've got to figure out a plan. Maybe I'll go ahead and post what I have so far, and you guys can comment what you think I should do. But I've got 2 weeks to get a boat water ready than when the motor's looking like this. And the only other motor I have, I know for sure has a low oil pressure condition. So don't know how much I can trust it without taking it apart. And at least inspecting the cam bearings, which, you know, shouldn't be too terrible, I wouldn't think, but it also means, you know, pulling the valve covers, taking off the rocker arms, pulling the push rods, pulling the lifters, and pulling the cam, and I don't have the tool to do the cam bearings, so I might have to take it to a shop, which then means, I don't know. I'm going to call a shop up and see what we can do, but shop's going to be the slowest and most expensive method. Yeah. Let me think about this.